Welcome to another episode. Why can I not look at myself? Of the podcast. I have been telling myself that I'm going to keep it just raw and unedited and unfiltered. And it's been a process to do that, honestly, because there are little things that's like, oh, I should have been doing that. And honestly, my hope is just to sort of break down some of these steps that we feel are in between us and where our dreams have us going. And one of those steps in between is the fact that I had to move positions of where I was doing this podcast and the equipment that I have. I've had to be a little bit creative with it because the room that I was using was not occupied, and now it is, and the camera that I was using was not being used, and now it is. And so I have to go with the crappy little camera that's look at where it's placed, right there at the bottom of a computer. Like, who puts a camera there? It's just like the worst spot ever. But yeah, I think that's also part of this journey that I'm going on with creating the things that I want to create, is that there are times like today when you show up and you're not sure like what to offer, what to provide. You know, if I'm going to be doing something like this every day, which is what I hope to be able to do, and I live my life in the present moment, well, I'll say this. I have this reflected to me a lot when I have conversations with people and when I ask them to sort of open up and tell me who they are. I really like seeing the real unfiltered version, obviously, as I'm doing this unfiltered podcast. But yeah, one of the things that I'll hear, and one of the things as I've been asking people if they want to be, interviewed on this podcast, is that they'll say, I am not an interesting or crazy person. And I sort of think about that, like, there are days when you feel like you're not as interesting or not as relevant or whatever. There are other times when you feel like something that you did actually has some significance to it. There's some magnificence to your life in moments. I think we've all had moments like that where there's a sense of personal triumph that's really powerful, even if it's not like something that one would consider to change the world. I guess the image that's coming to my head is there's a Netflix documentary, or there was a documentary on Netflix called Jiro Dreams of Sushi, about this Japanese sushi master who just is so dedicated to the craft. And he had some disciples, some underlings, some people that he was training, and one of the guys he was training on how to do some egg sushi for egg. And he'd been doing it for a number of years. I think it was like 7 years he'd been trying to get this thing right. And as they're filming the documentary, Jiro, who's the head sushi chef, finally says, it's acceptable. Like, this is okay. This egg sushi that you've been spending 7 years on is okay. It passes. And the guy just starts breaking down, if I remember, just starts crying, right? Like, I finally was able to overcome this obstacle in my life. And I think what's interesting about that, and what's interesting about all of us, is that moment of personal triumph. It doesn't matter what the feat is. It just matters the path that was taken to get to that, And so it's like everybody does have the hero's journey. Everyone has that story inside of them, but we just try to make it a measure of like grandness, of scale. We're trying to make it seem like, okay, somebody who spends 7 years, learning how to tie their shoes because they have some sort of struggles surrounding, motor functions, right? And then they're able to do it. Is that any less magnificent or any less impactful than somebody who spends 7 years and becomes a rock star or something? Like, I don't think so. I think the essence and the energy of those two experiences are the same. It's triumph, it's overcoming, it's trusting, and showing up every day and doing what it takes for you to be able to manifest whatever it is you're meant to be. Yeah. So I'm really curious. I'm actually not curious. I'm in a point in my life, I feel like I'm at a crossroads where it's like I can follow the thing that really lights me up, but I have no safety net with it. I have no backup plan for it. Or I can do something that isn't going to make me very happy, isn't going to make me, it doesn't inspire me. And I can do that for a little while to be able to, quote unquote, get the safety net, get the financial support to be able to do the things that I really want to do. But like in the end, it's always going towards what it is I actually want to do, which is share my voice. I want to speak with people and I want to hear their stories. I want to hear the moments of their personal triumph, of that thing that makes you magnificent even though it doesn't feel like that. Like I want to remove any sort of sense of scale and thinking that, oh, this person is a billionaire, so I should talk to them. Because billionaires, that's a bigger accomplishment. Like it's the same thing. Like we're all doing the same thing. We're healing, we're overcoming, we're rising up, we're loving ourselves. Like, and everybody can relate to that. And so I want to hear that from everybody, like in their own unique way. And that feels to me like a worthy endeavor, something that is really positive, like something that helps bring understanding and empathy and love and connection into the world. Like it's not there's no how is that a bad, that's not a bad thing. Like it's a beautiful thing. And I really it's like my heart is trying to find the right words, as if there's some magic word. Like honestly, I've I've toyed with that idea a number of times. Like, is there some magic word that I can say to just make all of this stuff come together? Like, is it please? It's not please, because I've said please a million times. Like, is there some magic word or phrase or formula to making the beautiful dreams that you have come into reality? To manifest. I want to manifest that occupation one where I travel around the world, speak with people, and share their beautiful moments of triumph, their beautiful moments of creation, of ingenuity, of beauty, and just share that with everybody to see that there's all these themes that we're playing on. They're all the same, that we're all the same. Like, and like I am okay. I'm okay to say that and to want that and to desire that, and I'm going to keep telling everybody that's what I desire. And the people that are going to help make that come into form are going to just come into my space. Like, this is going to work. Yeah. No, not yeah. It's going to work. You are going to work. And the work that you're going to do is a labor of love. So, yeah, I'm going to play you off with some lovely music. And I really appreciate you sitting down with me while I get my mind right and while I get everything in order. And I hope that there was some inspiration in there for you today. And I will see you tomorrow. This is Blackbird by Brad Meldau. Mehdau. Check it out. I'll see you around.